Okay, I'm going to speak briefly to Learning Task 2, leading a design deep dive. Really, this assignment is about learning by doing. I feel really strongly that design has a bias for action. Design is really about doing. So I wanted this course to really live those values. It was important to me also, it's always important to me in the design of learning that I ask students to make, create, and do things that they'll be proud of and that will have impact in their local community. So the primary goal of this assignment is not to land on my virtual desk for assessment. The primary goal is for you to make a difference in your community in whatever educational context that you're currently working in. Ultimately, you're going to do that through leading a design deep dive. This is going to be some sort of collaborative engagement focused on the design mindsets, focused on working with stakeholders to move forward an initiative or an idea, a big idea that's important to you and that links with your broader educational context. There's three subcomponents to this. There's part A is a pitch. This is going to be in the format, some sort of video format. You may choose an animation format using some sort of online tool that supports the easy creation of animation. You might choose to do a vlog style video. You might choose to do some form of narration over top of imagery. And if you need help thinking about how to use that technology, please let me know. And when we get closer to this assignment, I'll be sharing some exemplars. Really important in doing design work in school context is thinking about the input to that work in a few ways. Important to all of design is the idea that design needs to be emergent from local need. Designers are really focused on using empathy as well as testing, prototyping and testing to find out what users need. And before you do the pitch, I'm going to ask you to do both those things. We're going to walk through those steps where you're going to develop a prototype and test in your context, as well as talk to your users to determine what their needs are. Also in education, it's really important to have a research foundation. So we're going to do a little bit of background research to develop an input to our design process. It's also really important to have a strategic foundation. One of the things about the design process and its emergent nature is that if without a strategic alignment, it could create a lot of initiative fatigue within a school setting. It's critical that when we employ design work, we're considering how that work connects to the school goals, the provincial goals, in a post-secondary context, the strategic planning. Regardless of the context, what's important is considering that alignment, so you're going to do that as well within your pitch. The second part is you're going to actually design and lead a collaborative engagement. Ideally, that's in your context. However, if you're in a situation where there's not an opportunity for you to do that in your context, I'm going to work with you to find a context for you to do that in. I have contacts all over, particularly Rockaby School Division, as well as the University of Calgary, to find a good audience that fits what you want to explore. But this is something you're going to do for real. You're going to plan how to work with, whether it be students, colleagues, parents, your peers, in a formal opportunity like a professional learning day, a staff meeting, a classroom setting, or an informal one like a team meeting, people at lunch hour, whatever the case may be. You can choose to do this as an individual, which in often case will probably make more sense, or depending on your situation, maybe you'll do it as a group of 2 or 3. And finally, in this assignment, part C, you're going to tell the story of your design deep dive. It's storytelling and design are really powerful allies. Telling stories is an opportunity to solidify the learning. It's a good chance to connect back to that foundation, that strategic alignment, and and research foundation that we started with. And it's also really critical to inspire future action. When we think about design-based leadership not being a top-down structure, but rather an organic process, storytelling is a way to inspire other stakeholders to share back to that broader network and to inspire that ongoing evolution that we're really after in design-based leadership. So what I'm going to ask you to do is consider, before you lead your design day, how you're going to document it. It may be that you're doing that documentation, or it may be that you're building that in as part of what your participants do. Of course, you're going to have to consider permissions for that, and if working with students, we can, when we get to this part of our course, we'll look at what the expectations will be for taking video or photographs of student or colleague engagement, or their actual artifacts that they produce in the context of working with you. But you're going to decide what media makes the most sense to tell that story and communicate it to the local audience. So that might, I think multimedia is of some sort, at least imagery, makes for a great way to communicate this type of work. But that might be a series of social media posts, it might be a blog post, it might be a web page, it could be a video, maybe it's a newsletter, a school local newsletter that you're going to contribute to, etc. And I want you to think about that local context and think about your portfolio and how this can be something that you document to show who you are as a design-based leader. We're gonna have an opportunity to pour some more meaning into this assignment as we get closer to, and it's important to know that all these sub-steps are scaffolded through our weekly schedule and intermediate deliverables, where you're going to receive critique and revision from your peers as well as from me. But the point of this video is to give you a big picture view of the intentions behind the design. Hope it helps.